Welcome to Spooktober, my personal favorite time of year. Your old pal Xiovox has come prepared. And just as an added bonus, we have a special guest narrating tonight. Go ahead and make your predictions in the comments section below, and we'll find out who was right. Right, so why don't you come a little closer? I promise I won't bite. And get prepared for tonight's trifecta. Now, without further ado, let's roll the show. Look, I'll be the first to admit I'm a complete bastard. I'm also lazy. I'm only here to find the idiot, because there's almost always an idiot. This support group is pretty typical. We connected online, decided on a quiet place, and now we're all sitting cross-legged in a circle. Real kumbaya crap. Jerome takes the lead, pouring everyone a cup of tea as he starts talking. I'm Jerome. You can drink your tea, but only after explaining why you're here. I'll start. Jerome tells us he's never been loved. I can see why. The guy is ugly as sin. He sips his tea when the mousy chick speaks next. Miyu, she says. My parents. Short and sweet. No blubbering. Gotta admire Miyu. She's probably not the idiot. Next to talk are a legless veteran, a broke businessman, a needle-tracked junkie, and a diseased old crone. Then it's my turn. I'm an ass. Everyone hates me. I take a loud, annoying slurp of oolong as the fat kid with the black eye goes next, telling his boring fat kid sob story. Afterwards, we're all sitting quietly when Jerome keels over. Then Miyu's eyes roll back and she slumps forward. Only the fat kid reacts. What's happening? He whines. I thought this was a suicide support group. Found the idiot. It is, I say, spitting out my mouthful of tea. They support it. No one wants to die alone, kid. Oh, how ghost white he turns, looking into his cup. I love it. These suicide meetups are a sadist's dream, and I never have to lift a finger. Told you I'm a lazy bastard.
Little Emily vanished last year. Now they're pouring new sidewalks in my neighborhood, and I found her name in the wet cement, written in remembrance. But it was written in reverse, and from below.
I bought a new house in the small town of Winthrop. The house was cheap, but the most important part was that I needed to get away from the city. A few months ago, I had a run-in with a stalker. While I had managed to get him arrested, I couldn't shake the feeling of eyes just constantly watching me. I felt like there were eyes everywhere, at home and on the street. So I decided to move out into the country to somewhere with less people, just for peace of mind. The house itself was big and somewhat old, but otherwise very welcoming. The agent who introduced me to the house had been required to mention that a serial killer had lived in it in the past, which was why the house was so cheap. However, he and later my next-door neighbor Sarah both told me to pay the thought no mind. 4 other owners had lived in the house since then, and all of them were very happy with it. I loved the house. Its interior furnishings were beautiful and very comfortable. The people of Winthrop were friendly, often bringing me over freshly baked pastries or inviting me over for dinner. Get-togethers, they said, were the key to making sure everyone who lived in Winthrop loved it there. Yet, after a week, I stopped loving it. The feeling of someone watching returned, worse than before. I tried to ignore it, but soon I started losing sleep. Giant bags grew under my eyes, and I began yawning almost as much as breathing. Sarah was kind enough to let me stay in her house for a few nights. It was during this time that I heard the legend of Forrest Carter, the serial killer who had lived in my house. While no one knows his exact kill count, Carter, also known as the Winthrop Peacock, was a man with an extremely severe case of narcissism. Legends say that he couldn't fall asleep if he didn't feel like he was being watched. He was finally arrested for putting up a scarecrow to watch him during the night. Only, it wasn't a scarecrow. Carter had murdered a 17-year-old girl just so her corpse could stare at him. The story gave me shivers, and after I went home, I felt like there were hundreds of pairs of eyes just watching me, no matter how I turned. Today, however, was the first day that I acted out. I was cooking breakfast when I felt the eyes. Instinctively, out of fear, I threw my kitchen knife, which lodged itself into the wall. As I pulled it out, I found myself staring at a pair of eyes, pickled in formaldehyde. I've been watching the police peel away the drywall of my house for hours now. So far, they've found 142 pairs of eyes in little glass jars. The scariest thing is, each and every one was staring at me. Well, wasn't that a fine treat? We all love to keep an eye out for a good bargain, but be sure to check the fine print. No one wants an unexpected surprise. For the folks playing at home, if you guessed at the beginning of this episode that our special guest voice actress would be the one, the only, Timid Fennekin, you'd be right. Not only is she a skilled voice actress, but she's also a very talented musician, loaning herself to playing the songs behind each of these stories as well. Go ahead and give her some props by subscribing to her channel down in the description below. Tell her Xio sent you. As well, I wanted to take a quick moment to thank this week's sponsors. That's right, the Patreons. They're the folks that help keep the lights on and the coffee flowing. Want to be cool like the Patreons? Hop on over to patreon.com/Xiovox, link in the description, and you can donate any amount. Every little bit helps. So, in no particular order, this week's Patreons are Tyler Wilson, Cardigan, Risa Fandrab, Wildkin, Roxy Cat, Matthew Gafford, Karai Kitsune, and Tater Bater. Thank you. Well, that about wraps things up around here for this week, folks. Oh, don't fret. We'll be back with more spooky stories to keep you entertained very soon. But don't miss out. Click the subscribe button right here so you don't miss any future episodes. But until then, here's 2 more videos to keep you entertained. And I guess we'll see you next time.